fine. So, when we were doing the throwing line, and we were doing those punches, what was true about those punches?
You knew it was coming.
You knew it was coming.
They were punching at you, but they were really trying to hit you.
It was more them giving their energy than what's trying to actually.
Right. So they're coming for you. Yes. And in self-defense-based jiu-jitsu, that's got to be like bread and butter, right? Like people grabbing at you, pushing at you, going for the big swing. But we did talk about earlier, although I kind of teased during the Kihon, like how many people in a medieval battle in full knight's armor are throwing tactical jabs and slipping their head. Probably not that much.
Yes.
But our system is Kokondo, the way of the past and the present. And for good or for bad, that is a mode of attack that could happen. Doesn't mean it's more probable than the line style that we were doing, but it's possible. And the truth is this. If I come at Mr. Camacho and go, hey, you son of a-" he'll throw me. He'll throw the crap out of me. But for him to throw me with an epon, with this, is never going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's like, I'm not going to make it happen. Nobody's going to make it happen. Right? If he's popping a jab, the idea that I'm going to catch that, right, and make it tight, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Now, if he throws something big at me, right, oh, bam, then we can make something happen from there. Am I making sense? So we have to have two very broad ways to think about how we throw from punching attacks. When it's the classic, well, I'm going to knock your head off, right? Boom, he can just bait him in, 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 boom, and make something happen. But if I push him off and I go, and I'm not actually I'm showing a bit of what? Skill, but there's a skill timidity. I don't overcommit. I'm kind of poking and prodding. Then what the hell is the strategy then? Because you're not going to just grab their arm and throw them. You have to connect to them. Got it? So we're here, and as those hands are coming, I might need to throw something of my own. I might need to connect. Boom, now we're here. I'm not going to get the crap kicked out of me here. Make sense? Yes. Right? Here, for him to hit me, it's going to be difficult for him to hit me. Right? There's lots of stuff for me to do there. But I have to get there. Right? Maybe we connect, and we're this way now. And I don't want to just think I can just throw straight away, because he's showing a bit of timidity. He's not just overbearingly giving me his weight. He's fighting me, but he's not just trying to run me through the parking lot. Make sense? Or am I confusing you? So in broad strokes, we have the kind of wham! And we also may need to connect to someone, keep ourselves safe in the meantime, and then make a throw of some kind happen. I want the next little segment to focus on the latter, without getting confused between those two approaches. Make sense? So if someone's overcommitting a punch, I don't want to think, I have to clinch with this guy. No, you don't. Just rotate in, throw him, right? But if he's poking and prodding, then I have to be very, very careful and get to a position where now I can make various techniques, not just throws, by the way, happen. We're just focusing in on the throws. So you need to be able to connect, get to a position that you can control, that you understand, and basically that's going to be one of three major positions. You're kind of front-facing, and that can take different configurations. You're a little bit more off to the side, or if you're behind him. If you're behind him, then the world is your oyster. Am I making sense? Okay, so we have kumite gloves, boxing gloves, MMA gloves. One partner's going to have the gloves, and we're talking 10, 20%. Nobody's leaving concussed, but just enough that we're going to go to the chest. When he closes his distance, I'm gonna try and even when we're clinched up, I might feel a little tap outside the head, right? I might feel a little something there, and I gotta make sure that I can make my stuff happen. This? The three I gave you, Tanyotoshi, Ogoshi / Ukigoshi, Tayatoshi. From the front, the Seo, and Soto. For this exercise, I'd like you to gravitate towards those, but you're not totally limited. But think of that as just like a bedrock, that's the base of the pyramid. You go for one of those, it doesn't work, and it becomes a harai or an ouchi, fine. And that's okay. One other thought, although we're going to focus on this part less, there's also the ability to be low, which will create morote gari, which could create tegaruma, things like this. But again, we're kind of back to facing each other. Maybe I was here even, he slips an arm out to elbow me in the face, I'm here, and we're this way. But the point remains the same. When the person is not coming berserker mode to knock your head off, which is the more common way in street fighting. Not if you watch MMA, not if you watch boxers, because they're sportifying, and that's what works best in that environment. But our environment's a little different. So the first one, the classic ones, are what you need to really have down. But at a certain level of training, you also need to be able to, oh man, this guy threw his hands up, and look, he's actually got some footwork. He's not a bumbling fool. And I don't want to sit out there and trade blows with this person. Make sense? When you close the distance, okay, hands are up, monitor the hands. You can throw out something of your own, right? Give them something to think about. Throw up a hand, quick sweep. Okay, good. I just need to, I don't want to spend a lot of time here. Think about a real environment. How many steps do you think I could step back in a real world environment? A parking lot, a parking garage, a park bench, right? The speed bump, humans. So at some point, if that becomes apparent, you're gonna have to close distance. Okay, so go maybe 3 or 4 rounds with someone with the gloves of the uke, and then take off the gloves and let the other person have a turn. Got it? All right, how's your man?